Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Hardheaded. I am your host, Matt Amos. Along with me, as always, Chet, Sears, and Troy Trussell.
3-shot.
Here.
Present. Today's podcast is going to bring us what's on Chet's mind, our top 3 Halloween costumes for 2022. And Troy is going to end it with a good word, the first good word after the conclusion of the 40 Days with Jesus from the Chosen Book 2.
Yep. It's going to be fun.
We'll see.
And inspiring.
All right. Chet, what's on your mind?
We'll be the judge.
Yeah, we'll be. That's what I was getting at. I didn't want to be rude.
All right, so I'm going to bring you guys up to speed on something that's been going on.
Showing compassion there,
Compassion.
What's on my mind? Section 230.
SEC.
You know what I'm talking about?
Matt.
No, it's not the Securities and Exchange Commission.
I have limited knowledge of what you're talking about.
Southeastern Conference?
So there is a Communications Decency Act that was implemented a long time ago about how to handle information legally, constitutionally.
Wasn't it 1966?
I can't remember. I don't know. But in 1996, they added Section 230. 1996 is when Congress was like, oh, we need to do something about this thing called the internet.
Ah,
and how that applies to
life,
publishers and or providers.
I mean, we're publishing right now on
content online. Technically, we're not.
Oh, we're not. Okay.
Not according to this. And don't ever say that we are, because that gives us some liabilities, Troy, that we don't want to get into.
I think the publisher would be Spotify, Apple.
No, they're not. Clearly, based on Section 230.
Let's get into it.
So what it does is it gives immunity to internet companies.
What is an internet company?
An internet company like Google or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Rumble. All these companies that post information that they didn't
source
create.
So if you think about a newspaper publisher, that's the publishing that it's talking about, like a newspaper, there's editorial control over the information that's in the newspaper. Okay? So if the Wichita Eagle were to publish an article that says something about you that is untrue, you have legal recourse to go to the publisher of that material.
Okay.
And they could be held liable for defamation if it's truly inaccurate. Okay. So you could go through the court system to get recompense for whatever wrong you have been wronged. The Section 230 says that if you're a provider of information, not a publisher, then you have there's no legal recourse that anybody can take against you. They could against the person that created the content. So if I go on Facebook and I lie about Matt can't sue Facebook, or he could, but it wouldn't even, they'd throw it out, because Facebook, according to Section 230, is a provider of a quote unquote interactive computer service. This is back before social media. 1996 was just message boards, basically.
Yeah.
Like Netscape and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys remember.
I do.
Vaguely.
So it says that specifically a provider of interactive computer service can't be treated as a, quote, publisher or speaker of information provided by a third party. So a third party would be a user on Facebook that could go on there and lie all they want. Well, Facebook is not held liable for that. And this is what Section 230 says. They can't be. They're immune from that. So it also says, here's where it gets interesting. Providers and users of interactive computer services can't be held liable for voluntarily taking down content. It also says that those providers cannot be liable for a good faith removing of certain content. So you post something that is
fact checked
against what, if I had an internet service and you're on there saying something I didn't like, regardless if it's true or not, I take it down. It's my prerogative. I had good faith in removing it. I didn't want people to believe what you believe. I can't be held liable for that. So what do we see wrong with this?
Just people getting their stuff taken down. I don't know. I know there's a deeper meaning.
What's good about it? Free speech?
Well, I would, and that's kind of what I would go with. I was like, it opens the line of communications, but when a provider or company takes it down, not in good faith.
How do you determine what that is?
It depends, I guess, on how you view it, on what side you view that to be on.
Yeah.
And if it's not on the side you want.
So let me ask you this question. If I were a Republican, would I like Section 230 or would I not like Section 230?
I would say not.
Okay. If I were a Democrat, would I like Section 230 or would I not like Section 230?
I would probably like it.
Actually, there's consensus.
Nobody likes it?
Both Democrats and Republicans do not want Section 230.
Perfect.
Anymore. Some on both parties want to eliminate it, and some people want to heavily modify it on both parties. So we're like, oh, Congress, the Senate, left and right actually agree that something needs to be done about this. In fact, there are over 14 or maybe right at 14 bills that are proposed right now that would amend Section 230. But none of them are getting through because there's a disagreement on what they want changed about it. So let me give you a couple of instances where Section 230, some issues have come up with that. Online lies. Okay, so something that is a specific hoax, and the one of the lawsuits that came and got shot down because of Section 230 said this is not they can do this, whatever. You can't take recourse against this. I didn't even know this was a thing, but there was actually a conspiracy theory about the specific individual that brought COVID back to the United States. Did you know this?
No, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, it was some long distance bike racer that was in an accident in Wuhan, China, during a bike race that was going through, long distance going through Wuhan. I don't know, a couple months before, was it November, December 2019 when China started shutting down, and then 2020 is when we did. So that like the fall of 2019, she got in a bike wreck and had to pull out of the race because she got hurt or whatever. Came back to the States. Well, some dude got on the internet because he read some article about her crashing in a place called Wuhan, and then she was also from the same town. I think it was Seattle was the first case that was reported.
Oh, yeah.
That's where she lived. And the dude got on the internet and said it's her fault. Like, she brought it back. And over 70 death threats later, because he has a following on his, it was a YouTube channel. Like, people were like, we're going to kill you because you're killing my grandparents because of,
right.
when all the height, everybody's going to die kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there was no factual based evidence that she never had COVID. It just happened to he read an article that she was in Wuhan.
And now she's back.
And she lives here. So, and we're hearing the virus originated in Wuhan.
Yeah.
So it's her fault. So they go and sue YouTube because.
Who did? The biker's family or
Yep. The family of the lady that was being accused because of all the threats and all the life-changing things that she had to go through.
Right.
YouTube is like, no, whatever, you can't sue us because Section 230.
Section 230.
230.
But
230.
But we don't like it, so we're going to pull that video down. Right? So good faith effort. I don't have to. I can pull it down in good faith. This guy can't sue me. The YouTube channel guy can't sue me for pulling down the video
because we're covered under 230.
Right. So
and this is garbage.
This is a way where Section 230 I think protects those companies. It's like, okay, this is totally not cool. The content that you're publishing is causing some duress for somebody else, and you have no proof of what you're talking about. We're going to take this video down, and it's ship's already sailed. She's already been threatened. He actually published her address in one of his videos, and that's what it goes crazy. So they pulled that down. So Section 230 is pretty good there.
I feel a bad example coming.
I'll give you another one where a guy's wanting to get it pulled. I remember I saw this video. I think it was Florida, the live TV reporter, and a dude just walks up behind her and kills her and the cameraman. You remember that?
Yep.
Did you ever know about this?
Like 4 or 5 years vaguely ago? Remember that. Yeah.
That video, and this is what's great. People are just getting copies of that video and posting it on YouTube on their channel, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of hits. Those channels are monetized. People are making money off of watching this lady get killed. Her dad is like,
pull it down.
This isn't right. Like this should not be my daughter's legacy. Is everybody who wants to watch somebody die gets to go on YouTube and search for it.
Right.
And then the people who post it are making money off of advertising. And YouTube's making money off of advertising dollars, right? For all these, all this stuff up there. So he's trying to get those taken down, and YouTube's like, okay, we agree. We don't want it on there. So I'm going to try to get all those taken down. But he got pretty upset and actually ran up pretty high publicly to say YouTube is trash because they're making money off my daughter's death, which they were, by allowing people to share it on their site. But then YouTube said, we're going to change our policies in this area, and we want you to be on a committee, Father, to help us rewrite these policies so we can have some guidance on how we do this going forward. That's a good thing, that they're actually getting together and saying, okay, what else is out there that we could be making money off of that totally goes against what typically our principles are, of somebody being killed. Like that's horrible. It's a family tragedy.
Weren't ISIS videos on there when they first came out?
Hold that thought. Put a pin in that.
All right.
Let's put that in the parking lot, Troy.
I will, because I remember those.
So now let's get into some of the bad things that could happen with this ability to, quote unquote, in good faith,
willy-nilly, I like to say,
remove content.
Goes good with your shirt, willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
Can you guys think of anything in the last 2 years that you were not allowed to post because it was, quote unquote, misinformation? However, it turned out to be true.
There's been a lot.
So
COVID-19,
ivermectin,
vaccines. You get into some stuff. Even right now with some of the war in Ukraine, you can't talk about some of the history between Russia and the NATO agreements and all this kind of stuff, where somebody could build a case to say that Russia probably should be pissed. You're not allowed to talk about that. They pull that stuff down, misinformation, all this other kind of stuff. And then where it's getting pretty interesting on the conservative side of things, they could squelch a whole narrative of conservatism. Like, I don't want to let Matt Walsh talk anymore, so we're going to turn off his channel, right? I just don't like what he says. You can't sue me, Matt Walsh, because Section 230, right?
Right.
Because I just don't like his views. It's not that they're harmful. I just don't want anybody hearing what that is.
Because in good faith, I believe that his views are dangerous, and so I'm not going to put those out there.
Right. So then you get some of the conservative opponents of Section 230 are saying, well, you have turned yourself into a publisher now. Like, you're behaving as a publisher.
You're editing. You're editing
content to promote a narrative that you agree with, or to remove a narrative that you don't agree with.
Right.
So Section 230 shouldn't protect you anymore, because you're clearly a publisher now. And every court case that's been brought so far has been that Section 230 covers that. So it's pretty interesting, though, that all Democrats and Republicans are agreeing that something needs to change. So Biden came out and said, or immediately after he was elected, he said that we want to remove Section 230 and make all of the platforms publishers. They'll all be liable for the content, which would create a nightmare for how many new YouTube videos are posted every second across the U.S.?
Oh, like 1 million something?
Yeah, I don't know. A bunch, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be able to edit those for content. And then who would you go to find out what's true and what's not true? Well, there would probably be some governing board from the government that would talk about what you can and can't post, which we've already seen some of that collusion going on with the FBI and Hunter Biden's laptop and things of that nature. Some of that's already taken place. So Trump, he actually wanted, when he was president, tried to get the Section 240 changed so that the liability
230 or 240?
230, I'm sorry. That the liability, if you edit anything for content or for narrative, then boom, you could be sued. So you're no longer, well, all your liabilities are instated. You're not free to do whatever you want. If you do something that somebody has a legitimate, that wasn't in good faith, they could sue you, and then you'd actually have to pay if you lost, right? That you'd have to go to court. Well, right now, all those cases are getting thrown out. So why am I talking about this right now? So 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court said they're going to pick up a case involving Section 230. So since 1996, this has been what it is. Like, they're totally not liable for anything that's posted, and they're totally not liable for anything they edit out, right? Or anything they remove, whether it was legitimate or not. No liability whatsoever. Well, there's this case, Gonzalez versus Google. Okay, so the Gonzalez family had a family member who got on YouTube and was sitting around looking at some videos that were anti-American, and through the algorithms that this person
established,
right?
Yeah,
not anybody in the Gonzalez family. I'm speaking right there. So this other person watching all this stuff on YouTube, algorithms are saying, they spend more minutes watching videos when they're watching videos like this. Started pumping in more videos like that. Turns out that all those videos that the algorithm was pointing this person to were ISIS videos, like published by ISIS on YouTube. And then this person goes down that rabbit hole, ends up becoming radicalized, and then goes on this killing spree in Paris. So somebody from the Gonzalez family lived in Paris, U.S. citizen living in Paris, gets killed by this terrorist who, based on all the evidence, got radicalized by just watching YouTube videos published by ISIS on YouTube. And actually, it was the algorithms that pointed that individual to the ISIS videos.
Wow.
So YouTube edited the content of their videos and put them in front of people that turned them into a killer of some U.S. citizen. So the Supreme Court said, we'll hear that case. So typically how this goes is in the fall, Supreme Court says what cases they're going to hear. And then around June, they give their decision. So we've got all winter, all spring, into next summer before we find out what's going to happen. But this is a pretty legit case that directly goes into the editorial process of a publisher versus what all of these companies have been claiming. We have no liability whatsoever for anything that we do. So it's a pretty big deal that's coming down the pipe that will probably change the internet forever. Like the way we know the internet today may not be the way the internet exists this time next year. Like there may be no social media, right? There could possibly be no YouTube after this decision comes down, because if you look at how their algorithms point people to do certain things or, whatever, or if you look at the content that comes across that we know is not accurate, or the content that comes across that we want to come across that we know is accurate, but they won't let you because they're editing out that kind of stuff. Like the Hunter Biden deal. Like, Mark Zuckerberg admitted the FBI went to him and said, hey, don't let the Hunter Biden thing get out. And they squelched it. You could share it, but nobody would see it. Right.
Well, it could not be here, or it could be because it's the Chinese government doesn't let their people see what they don't want them to see.
Right.
So it could basically turn into that as well, without it all going away at once.
Maybe it'd be interesting to see, because then you don't have any revenue. You see what I'm saying? The business case for Facebook goes away when they don't curate the information that you see that makes you want to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's same with YouTube.
Yeah.
Like the only reason you enjoy being on YouTube is the next video that pops up is probably something that you would want to watch.
Right.
Well, if it happened to be random, it's probably going to be something you don't want to watch. And then you're like, how do I have to search? I
got better things to do.
Yeah. I'm not going to be captured by this tool anymore. Right. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. It's going to be interesting. And I could see both sides of this. Like I can see where it's good. I can see where it's bad. It's a free speech issue to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We know that it hasn't been completely free, and we know that section, like whatever you wanted to say about ivermectin, 18 months ago, you couldn't, but not online anyway. You can go say it in the town square, but then, it turns out to be, maybe you should have been able to talk about that kind of stuff, so hasn't been a good thing. But at the same time, when you have a video of a reporter getting shot, it'd probably be a good thing to pull that down, Yeah. So it's going to be interesting how it all plays out. But Section 230, if you haven't heard about it yet, there's going to be a whole lot more talk about this coming up in the next few months, because, it could be the end of the way the internet is used as we know it.
All right. We'll just keep us posted there, Chet.
You got it.
All right, we ready to hop into a top three?
I think we ought to take a commercial break.
Let's do it.
Are you leading this ship or am I?
Well, you're just sitting over there staring at us. So.
Oh, okay.
I put him to sleep.
We'll be right back. At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave. And we're back.
There's 30 million. 30,000 hours of newly uploaded content per hour. And this was a stat from February 2020. So, that's
a lot of videos.
Probably more now. Yeah. So
lots of stuff out there.
Anyway, moving on. Now that I'm thinking about something completely different. not bored, but actually thinking. I get quiet when I think because it's tough to try to.
This is a complex issue because there's no easy.
It's going to take somebody smarter than me. We'll put it that way because I can see like
smarter than us three.
Like, I just say shut it down. No more internet.
I'd actually be
no more social media.
I love the 80s.
No more. Yeah, I like to be able to Google where I'm driving like today to our new studio and be like, oh, I've got a satellite view of the street. Ooh, I'm parked away from a government building, and then I'm just sitting there and looking like the Unabomber in my truck.
Yeah.
Weird. But anyway, moving along. Top 3 Halloween costumes for 2022. Troy.
All right, number 3.
What do you got?
I got a good list here, I think.
Yoda.
Nope. I'm surprised you know who that is. It's probably. Have you ever watched E.T.? That's probably where you know Yoda from, since you've never seen Star Wars.
E.T.
E.T. Phone Home.
Yeah,
they dress the little kid up as Yoda in that movie.
E.T.'s also in one of the Star Wars movies.
Is he?
Yeah,
huh?
his species.
His species is in episode 1, I think.
Yeah.
Very well.
Anyway, number 3, Karate Kid skeletons.
Okay.
The Cobra Kai guys.
The original.
Yeah, the original Karate Kid, the Cobra Kai skeletons.
Yeah. Those
are phenomenal.
Yep. It's a good one.
It's classic.
It is a good one.
Yes, got one of Matt's. All right.
I mean, I am repping
Cobra Kai.
That's right. Number 2, classic. Another classic. One of my favorites, as far as costumes go, is Michael Myers. There's something about that white mask and that crazy hair that gets me every time.
Yeah.
And I love
the hockey mask.
No, that's Jason.
Oh, who's Michael Myers?
Mike Myers is just the white.
Oh, the knife guy from Halloween.
Yeah,
the movie
from Halloween, the movie.
I don't watch it.
There's also YouTube videos that I don't know if they've been edited or not, or algorithms or whatever, but of this dude that dresses up like
with his wife, and his wife's filming it. Yeah.
Well, I don't think his wife's filming it. I think there's somebody else filming it because his wife's always like, stop it.
No, it's her.
Oh,
it's her with her phone. That's the whole thing. It's a gimmick, but they're hilarious videos. Because she'll pull up to a stoplight and they've planned it to where he's up in this second floor, like car lot thing, and he's just standing there. Yeah. She's like, da, da, da. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And she's filming him the whole time.
Get so down. Funny. Go home.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right.
And then number 1, because Stranger Things season 4 was so good.
I hadn't seen any of them.
Looked it up. They have a Vecna number 1 latex mask that you can buy and put on your head and look just like him.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Y'all don't watch Stranger Things?
Never.
No.
Man, it's a great show. For all our Stranger fans.
I heard season 1 was good. Season 2 and 3 were sucked, and season 4 was good. That's what
season 2 or 3 could have been better.
Yeah.
Season 1 was really good. Season 4 was phenomenal.
Okay.
It was really good.
So phenomenal, you should dress up as Stranger Things for Halloween.
It's Vecna. Or number 1.
That name alone is why I don't watch
it. Well,
they got all these.
You don't watch anything good, so who cares?
Please. I got on a Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
It's actually pretty darn good.
I've seen season 1, 2, and 3.
It's
he's a character in Breaking Bad.
He's the lawyer.
Yeah.
But it's like his story and how he got involved. And so it's got a lot of the original characters that come. It's pretty good. And funny.
All right.
Is it you?
That's you, man.
Is it me?
Yeah.
All right, all good.
You're the middleman.
Way off course with him driving.
Yeah, it is what it is. We just go with the flow, man. Willy-nilly. Number 3. There's this video going around of this little kid wearing like an alien costume where it looks like it's the alien's legs and and head, and then the little kid's kind of sticking through it, and he's like by a truck door, and he screams and just starts running away, but it looks like the alien's dragging him away.
I know what you're talking
That may
about.
be one of the best costumes I've ever seen.
Like a green man. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. And the
Yeah, I
little
think
kid's acting was spot on, because he legitimately looked terrified, which was it adds to it. If that came up to my door, that kid would get extra candy.
Yeah.
Just saying. Number 2, Cobra Kai from the original Karate Kid.
Okay.
Yep, the skeletons.
The skeletons.
It's a good one.
Not Daniel in the shower,
Yeah,
but the skeletons. Those
the shower.
I wanted that costume like my entire childhood, but you can't ever afford something like that, or we couldn't anyway. And it was all you could get was like the cheap stuff that was all loose and didn't fit right.
It ended up being an honorable mention for me. If anybody could find one of the old costumes with the thin plastic and the mask with the elastic deal, the plastic mask, just any of them. They had Superman, they had Casper, they had.
Oh yeah.
If anybody found one of those today and wore it, dude, memory lane. I'd give them extra candy.
Yep.
If you showed up in that, with the little eye cutouts of the plastic thing where it hurts your face.
That, and you get that little thin string with the 2 staples in it that go around. Yep.
Yeah.
And
they still
like the first time you took a step in that thing, it'd rip,
Yep.
Yeah.
they still haven't gotten any better. I
haven't bought a Halloween costume since, I don't know.
They're not as plastic anymore, but they're more fabric made, but the mask thing still hurts your face. They suck.
And so I kind of took the liberty, or I guess the way that I looked at it was people coming to my house.
What would you give extra candy for?
Right.
That's a good judge. That's a good measurement system.
Because I'm not going to dress up anymore, So this is what would get you extra candy if you come to my house.
2 things. Costume is 1, and then how you speak to the person is 2. Like there are 2 things that'll up your candy take in my household.
Yeah.
If you literally say trick or treat, oh thank you, if you walk up there and you're just like hold out your bag,
candy.
Yeah, you're getting a little thing of
peanut.
Sixlets.
Getting a peanut.
No,
I'll give you Snickers
you're
candy bar.
You're getting that candy that looks like normal candy, but it's full of weed. Because that happens. People just giving away their weed. That always made me laugh. Like,
don't look for the razor blades in the candy bars. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
The apples.
Yeah.
That's what we were always
or
told.
needles.
Yeah.
So the number one way that you're going to get just a buttload of candy if you come to my house and the light's actually on and I actually answer the door.
Which by the way, never going to happen, but go ahead.
Lieutenant Dan. You come up, wheeling up in a Lieutenant Dan costume and you actually don't have legs.
You're getting a whole bucket.
You're getting a lot of candy. And you're probably going to come in and just enjoy being able to wheel around a 1 floor fully accessible home for a little bit,
Yeah. That's cool.
We'll sit on the couch and talk about life and, maybe watch Forrest Gump. As long as your parents don't mind. I mean, I'm not the creepy guy. Anyway, that's my top 3.
All right.
Good stuff.
Chet.
My number 3, mustache related costumes. And right now the 2 hot ones are anything Top Gun or Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
So if you go and grow your face, and I know this episode's coming out too late for you guys to grow a mustache between now and Halloween, but if you put the effort in to grow a mustache for your Halloween or any kind of facial hair for your Halloween costume, awesome. You get credit. Extra candy.
Street cred.
If you're able to grow a mustache and you're still trick-or-treating, I'm not giving you any candy. You'll get a job, fool. Buy your own candy. Stop taking mine.
If you're going to your, the adults take kids to parties and the kids.
I'm telling you, adults, if you're Ted Lasso or any Top Gun character with a mustache, I'm good.
Now,
I'm good
what kind of points would I got? Because I think I've said this before, but I used to dress up a majority as a cowboy growing up. And I'd have my 6 shooters. I'd have my red bandana, cowboy hat, and then I'd paint on with you remember those cheap little face paints that, you know, I'm talking about the little sticks.
No.
Don't remember those.
They had these little sticks, just almost like camo paint, but they came in little sticks, and I drew on a beard, and
Yeah.
would I
That would get you some candy. And if you said like, howdy partner, trick or treat, I'd have loaded you up.
all the candy.
Yeah.
There it is.
if you like spoke in character, if you did a good job dressing in character and then spoke in character.
So before this releases, I might have some of those pictures. I'll send them. Maybe we could throw them up, because I think I've got some. I dressed up as the Ultimate Warrior one year, and I'm in like the worst absolute pair of biker shorts and tank top, and I've got those,
I don't want to see that.
those little
I don't want to
armbands.
see that.
No.
And
You
then
could share it on Facebook.
I've got some dressed
Maybe the
up.
algorithm will hide it.
Yes.
I'm probably a cowboy, and my
Please-
brother's
please edit
probably
that
Karate
out.
Kid. I don't know.
I call 2:30 on that.
2:30.
There are
Somebody's
so
gonna be
many.
liable for that showing up in my feed.
So
I
where
wanna-
is section?
I want to get in on that lawsuit, you know,
Right.
Gonzalez family, because I just saw Matt in some biker shorts.
It's pretty impressive. You can see my legs.
So number 2, Cobra Kai.
Number 2.
Yeah. Number 3 is Ted Lasso mustache.
Okay.
Number 2.
I'm way ahead.
You'll know why I say when I get to my number 1. But here's the thing. I'm going a step further than you guys. Any Karate Kid outfit. So if you wear like white blue jeans with a white shirt and a red jacket,
Oh, yeah.
maybe even
Johnny.
you got some spaghetti stains on your shirt, dude, you're a winner
You
in
just
my book.
came from the country club.
That's right. You're a winner in my book. You bring all that all the way in. If you had like Eagle Fang, like I'm game. That's a good one. So current, past, the black gi.
So to all the kids listening to this podcast, which after we just talked about Section 230, I'm sure there's 1,000 of them.
It's like I heard on this podcast that I'm not going to be on social media. TikTok's going away.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Kids,
See ya.
listen. Your internets are going away. Your social medias are going away. So you need to learn how to communicate with the older generation, the Karate Kid generation, the original Karate Kid generation. These are the people handing out your candy, and this is the stuff I wish I'd have known as a kid. As a kid, I probably should have been dressing up as like Mickey Mantle, or I don't know, something maybe Andy Griffith or something like that, you know, or what was the cop on Andy Griffith?
Oh, back in the day, it would have been like the Munsters too, and the Addams Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's all kinds of good ones.
You know, so you've got to target your costume to the people with the candy. And the people with the candy right now that are going to have their lights on, typically we're going to have kids themselves. And the people with the kids trick-or-treating age are going to be in kind of our age group. So you want to target that. Karate Kid's going to get you a long way.
Oh, yeah.
That was my motivational speech for the trick-or-treaters. I didn't offend anybody.
You got 2 gold stars.
You
for
should have
that.
given that to the football team.
I
too.
should've.
You got done a lot quicker.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1. And for some reason, this costume isn't necessarily tied to Halloween. It's a costume, but it's about this time of year, actually earlier October, this starts to come out. And it seems like it's only females that do this. Starting to catch on with some of the men that are on the
Feminine?
more fashion, more
feminine?
fashion oriented.
Fashion. I was going to say feminine, but
Lumberjack. The red flannel with the blue jeans and the vest.
You could even be the brawny guy.
That's they're all in costume now. If you just look outside, you're going to see somebody dressed as a lumberjack walking down the street. 9 chances out of 10, it's a soccer mom. And then 1 chance out of 10, it's a dude that probably has never run a chainsaw a day in his life. But anyway, lumberjack, that's my number 1. You already got it in your closet, ladies. So some of you dudes are already wearing it. Just save it for Halloween and only wear it once a year. That's all I ask.
yeah, put the boots on, roll the bottom of those pants up.
I'm telling you,
get the tightest jeans you can find.
It's out there right now. Just go look. It doesn't even have to be Halloween.
Yeah,
All you need to do is have one leaf turn brown, and all of a sudden everybody dresses up like that.
Walking around with a cup of pumpkin spice.
That's when the pumpkin spice comes out. Everybody's like, "Oh, I gotta get my lumberjack outfit out."
Oh, it's
Solid. I got a blue one.
It's 50 degrees this morning. It's going to be 90. Lumberjack.
I got to be prepared in case a tree needs felling.
I gotta go fall some trees after work.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
All right. Decent top 3.
Very good.
Decent top
right
3
here at Halloween.
For episode 99.
99, that's right.
Our next episode
100. Hundo.
100. So before we hit triple digits with the episode numbers, we've got to get through another good word. Troy.
That's right.
What do you got?
My good word for this week.
You said you're bringing it.
I am. It's called hope.
Hope.
And we've probably used that word before, but we all need a little hope. So a few years ago, I was in a small group, and the two guys leading it turned us on to this book called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And it's written by Peter Scazzaro. And it's a really good book. As a small group, we went through it together, chapter by chapter. So every week we'd read a chapter, and then we'd, discuss and go through. But it has a lot of things that deal with who you are as an individual, to where you can look back in your past and choose to or choose not to go back and work on things to get better spiritually. And so since that was about 4 years ago where we did this, and it really it worked on our whole group. Our whole group worked on themselves individually, and we got closer as a group. It brought us all together. Feel like we had better relationships with each other, with our families, and ultimately with Christ. Through that, I've since gone through it again with another group, and it did the same thing. It brought us closer, and you were able to heal some things from your past. And the third time, I'm not going through the book again, but the author has a devotional book that you can read that kind of ties in with that book. And I was listening to it on audio the other morning, and I wanted to share with you that section, because it's talking about how God uses the weak to make himself strong. Mm-hmm. And the way that this devotional is kind of set up is really good, because it's talking about all the people of the Bible and their flaws and their weaknesses, and how God used them to make them strong. So the Bible does not spin the flaws and weaknesses of its heroes, because Abraham lied, Hosea's wife was a prostitute, Peter rebuked God, Noah got drunk, Jonah was a racist, Jacob lied, John Mark deserted Paul, Elijah just burned out, Jeremiah was depressed and suicidal, doubting Thomas, Moses had a temper, Moses also didn't want to go talk, so that he had his brother Aaron come along, Timothy had ulcers, and even David, one of God's beloved friends, committed adultery and then murdered Bathsheba's husband. So he was a murderer and an adulterer. But yet all these people teach us the same message, that every human being on earth, regardless of their gifts and strengths, is weak, vulnerable, and dependent on God and others. And so that really spoke to me, because no matter what you do, no matter who you are, there is still hope in Christ, and he can use your weaknesses for his strength and for his glory. So,
that's actually one of the things I taught on a couple weeks ago at church was Gideon. Just all the judges that are talked about in the book of Judges, all but one, horrible people that we would not, I think the term, the way that I phrase it is the nominating committee would have never brought them forward to be voted on. And when you go through the story of Gideon with the narrowing the army down, right? 32,000 people, God says that's too many. Tell everybody that's scared they can go home. So you had 22,000 of them go home. And then there was 10,000 left, and God said that's too many. And he was like, then they did the whole thing, how you drink out of the water. And then he had 300 left, and he said, okay, now I'm ready. And he says that in Judges, the reason that I did this is because I don't want it any way that you can boast in yourselves that I want all the glory for this. And if you think about God in that light, the fact that you have flaws and the fact that you have weaknesses and God can use you is because he wants to bring glory to himself. So for you to not think highly of yourself ahead of time is a good thing, because you shouldn't think too highly of yourself after you've been used by God either, because you know everything about you, right? God knows everything about you, but he still wants to use you so that he can be glorified. Not necessarily for your self-esteem to be lifted up that high, but he has a history, and you just went through a laundry list of people that are deeply flawed. But if you look at how God uses them ultimately for Jesus to come into this world and for him to live a perfect life and to die for our sins, he's the one that gets the glory for that, because we know that everybody that he's used is not that great of a person.
Yeah.
And neither are we.
Exactly.
And he still wants to use us.
Yeah.
So why not let him, and just be sure that you're not the one trying to get credit for it, right? Because we know who we are. We know who he used. They shouldn't get credit, because, I mean, in this case, Gideon, when he found Gideon and called on him to say, hey, I want you to lead my people to defeat the Midianites, he was threshing wheat in the bottom of a wine, basically the place where they would store wines. He's down hiding out. He's scared. He's a chicken. Like, he's not a guy that you're like, oh, I want to find that guy to lead my army. Like, I'm going to find this dude that's so scared that he has to depend on me for everything, because I want the glory. He doesn't need the glory. I'm not going to go find the biggest. Look at Samson. Like, that dude had lust problems. I'm going to do whatever I can to get this woman, right? And what did he do to use him? How did he bring down the occupying force in that place? Is he lost all his strength. He was blinded and bound. And he said, you know what? Just put me by the pillars in the center of this building, and I want to die with everybody else in here. I'm going to kill them all. Like, he was not somebody that you're like, hey, be like Samson. No, I don't want my kids to be like that. But God uses those people, and God can use you no matter what you've done.
Yep.
Right on, man. So there's hope.
There's hope for us all. All right. Happy Halloween.
Only 4 more days. And next week, for our 100th episode, we will be going live. So,
on the internet before it gets shut down.
Before, who knows? By then, they might cut our live stream because there's too much truth. So, if you're still listening, next week, follow us live. Chime in. Our top 3 for next week is going to be our top 3 hard-headed episodes. So chime in with your top 3. Go through the catalog this week. Figure out which ones you like the best. Listen to them again. Be sure to hit them in the comments and see if they align with the top 3s that each of us have. And it'd be interesting to see which each of us thinks is our favorite episode. So stay tuned next week, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.